2025 was an absolutely fantastic year in the world of retro gaming handhelds, and 2026 looks to be shaping up to be the same and potentially even better. However, there is a huge issue that could get in the way. At the back end of 2025, we had some amazing announcements in the world of retro gaming handhelds, which has transitioned into 2026. Starting off, we've got the amazing Retroid Pocket 6, the latest flagship gaming handheld from Retroid. And Retroid continue to take leaps and bounds in their quality as each of their handhelds gets closer in power and build quality to their sister company AYN. Retroid have really set themselves apart in the more consumer-friendly, more budget-focused gaming handheld area, to the point where you can't really consider them a budget gaming handheld device anymore. The quality of a Retroid device in your hands feels a lot more, like I said, like an AYN device. And although the cost has been slowly creeping up, I still think it sits comfortably in that more consumer-friendly, cost-effective range of retro gaming handhelds where everyone could potentially consider getting one. And the Retroid Pocket 6 brings even more power and quality, making it a fantastic and one of the best retro gaming handhelds to start 2026. Now, Retroid don't release handhelds quite as rapidly as the likes of Anbernic, but I'm pretty confident we're going to see at least one or two more Retroid devices within 2026. And with the popularity of flip and dual screen devices, we might see a Retroid Pocket Flip 3 or even a Retroid dual screen device. And the idea of having something a little bit more like the AYN Thor but maybe a little bit more budget is an amazing idea. Moving on to flip devices, and like I said, at the end of 2025, we saw a lot of flip devices popping out with some dual screen devices popping up as well, and that's continued into 2026. The likes of the AYN Thor and the Anbernic RGDS really set the tone for what we can come to expect for 2026. But companies seem to be taking it one step further. With dual screen not being enough, now we're seeing foldable screens too. The One X Sugar wallet is set to release in 2026, and it looks like an amazing device. Incorporating concepts we see from the mobile phone world with the likes of the Galaxy Fold devices, the One X Sugar is going to have a foldable screen in a clamshell style device, which gives you that dual screen ability, but also huge screen real estate for you to use it much more like a pad than just a standard retro gaming handheld device or a gaming handheld PC. Now, foldable screens feels like the natural transition of where we'd get to with clamshell devices and dual screen devices, but it does feel a little bit soon. It doesn't really feel like we've even gotten a chance to get our teeth stuck into the AYN Thors and the Anbernic RGDSs before we've even started moving on to foldable screens as well. And in all honesty, a foldable screen is something that's always interested me and something I've always wanted to get my hands on from a mobile phone perspective. But I've seen with so many of these devices, when I look at them secondhand especially, that you start to see those creases in the screen and they just don't feel like they're quite as durable as a standard dual screen device would be. And when it comes to these kinds of devices, these gaming handhelds, if you're going to put so much money into how much the One X Sugar wallet is probably going to cost, you want it to last a long time. You're not going to be updating it and go into a new device as regularly as you would with a mobile phone. It's not like we have contracts for these retro gaming handhelds which will refresh us every 2 years. If you're going to invest in something as expensive as this, you're going to want it to last you at least 5 years and maybe even longer than that, especially if you're a retro gamer like me who likes to keep hold of the devices. So although a foldable screen sounds quite amazing and quite useful for what it can offer, I am a little bit dubious in the longevity of how long something like that will last as a usable device. But what it does satisfy for me is that it seems like clamshell devices and dual screen devices are here to stay, and that is absolute music to my ears. Moving on, the handheld gaming PC market is going to definitely see some impressive releases this year as well, and I believe that's hugely thanks to the Xbox ROG Ally, or whichever order those words come in. That device came out and it basically redefined what Windows could be like on a handheld gaming PC. Up until that point, for me, there was no comparison with something like the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck with SteamOS just basically felt like a console in your hands, and you had the benefit of it being like a PC if you wanted to access that mode of it. Windows handheld PCs felt the other way around. It felt like you had a Windows PC in your hand, and you could make it play like a gaming console if you put enough effort into it. But the Xbox ROG Ally completely changed my perspective on that, with the Windows operating system feeling a lot more like a dedicated console operating system, with the added benefits of having Windows in the background to play around with if you wanted to. And no doubt that will continue to evolve throughout 2026, and I'm pretty certain we'll see even more devices beyond the Xbox ROG Ally using the dedicated Windows gaming interface to provide us even more amazing Windows gaming handheld PCs. Now obviously this area is going to be expensive, so it's not the type of area where I'll be able to get loads of different devices to play around with, so I am excited for it, although I'm not certain how many devices I'll actually dive into trying to check out, if any at all. But what it does mean is that it keeps the world of handheld gaming alive and continuing in 2026 for what I see as this golden era of handheld gaming. But there could be one huge issue that derails this golden age of handheld gaming. And now we've already seen prices going up and up, and we already see some ridiculously priced devices, especially in the handheld gaming PC world. But what worries me is that we could see an impact to the cost of lower end devices like Retroid and Ambernic. We could start seeing those costs rise beyond the £100–200 mark, closer maybe even to the thousands of pounds mark. Now, that might be a little bit exaggerated, but honestly, I can't definitely tell you that won't be the case, because the cost of RAM is significantly increasing. With RAM being so crucial in the whole world of AI, and AI farms consuming so much RAM now, the cost of RAM is absolutely skyrocketing, with some people predicting that it could impact the next generation of console releases, and when we might actually see those consoles, because it throws a bit of a spanner in the works for how much those consoles will cost. And everybody knows we're not going to want the PS6 to cost nearly £1,000, but obviously that doesn't just affect desktop PCs and traditional gaming consoles, it affects every device that uses RAM, including devices like mobile phones, but more importantly for us, retro gaming handhelds and handheld gaming PCs. Now, I'm not trying to be a fearmonger, and I often think these things have a way of balancing out, and companies realize that people don't want to spend insane amounts of money on essentially luxury devices. So I do feel like there will be a way that will be found to keep costs pretty acceptable, to be honest. Now, I do believe costs will go up, but costs have been going up recently over the past year or so, and in terms of the retro gaming handheld world and handheld gaming PCs, we seem to have accepted it, and we seem to have found different ranges of where we all sit in that price range. Or maybe even some of us have one really expensive device and have indulged in a few cheaper devices as well. I think that will remain to be the case, but it is something to be aware of and something to be considerate of 2026. But moving back to those good vibes, and there's nothing greater than being at the beginning of a year knowing that we've got so many amazing releases ahead of us. Once upon a time, we were lucky to have maybe 1 or 2 gaming related hardware releases in a year, and we'd probably have to wait multiple years before the next one. Yet now we live in a time where every year we know there's going to be multiple hardware releases ahead of us. And I know at times that can be a bit overwhelming, but it's always good to take a step back and just realize how fortunate we are to have these options ahead of us and to have so many more amazing devices coming our way. I'm personally really excited for any dual screen and flip devices ahead, and I would absolutely love to know what devices you're looking forward to the most. Let me know in the comments below, but if you want to take a more detailed look at my favorite retro gaming handheld of 2025, check out this video right here.